Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to Idiot Proof Cooking. So my wife's been on my case ever since I made those apple fritters to make more donuts. So today I've decided to make some old-fashioned chocolate donuts. Now old-fashioned donuts are great because they're kind of more of a mellow flavor, nothing too overpowering, and they're great for like dipping in your coffee or your tea. They're just absolutely delicious. Now normally what you'll do is you'll put a simple glaze on them, but I wanted to mix it up a little bit, so I've decided to do that with a chocolate glaze just to get a nice little chocolatey flavor in there. But anyways, they are super simple and I think you'll really like making these. So without any further ado, let's get into it and I'll show you how to make them. Okay, so let's start off by making the actual dough for the donuts, the recipe of which comes from the food blog girlsversusdough.com. So thank you for that. In a mixing bowl, pour in 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and then a ½ cup of cocoa powder. Next in is a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, which seems to be really sticking to my bowl here. Hold on. Then 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, again sticking to the bowl, what a pain in the ass. And then 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. You're going to want to whisk that all together until it's good and combined, until you realize you were supposed to add in nutmeg. I was able to actually find actual nutmegs instead of using the dry powder stuff. So get your zester and put in about a 1/4 teaspoon of that. I'm really pumped to be using fresh nutmeg now. And give it another whisk. Put that aside for a moment and get out your stand mixer, because we're going to be mixing some wet ingredients. In the bowl of your stand mixer, add in a 1/4 cup of granulated white sugar, and then 3 tablespoons of butter melted, unsalted butter melted. Then attach your paddle attachment and mix these together for about 1 to 2 minutes until everything gets nice and combined together. Then get yourself 2 large eggs, take the yolks from them, and pour them into the bowl of the stand mixer as well. Again, give this a nice mix with the paddle attachment in your stand mixer for about another minute until everything's mixed together. And then it's time to start adding in your dry stuff and a whole cup of room temperature sour cream. Now what I'll do is I'll pour about half of the dry ingredients in and then about half of the sour cream. I'll mix it in 2 batches, so half of each, mix it for about a minute, and then pour the other half in and mix it again for another 1 to 2 minutes until this starts to really come together and form a nice, like, smooth dough. It is going to get pretty thick, but that's okay. Your stand mixer should be able to handle it. So, like I said, mix for about another 1 or 2 minutes. Once it is mixed and all combined, take the paddle attachment off. I'll show you the consistency here. This is what you're aiming for. See, it's nice and thick. It's a little tacky, but not too bad. But what you'll want to do is then cover this with plastic wrap and store it in your fridge for 1 to 2 hours. This is going to help harden up the dough a little bit, make it way easier to roll out and cut later on when you're cutting them into actual donuts. Speaking of which, it's been about 2 hours, so let's actually cut the donuts and start frying them. So turn your dough out onto a heavily floured work surface. Go get yourself a rolling pin and generously coat that in flour as well. And then you're going to want to roll this dough out until it's about a 1/4 inch in thickness. Now, you will find that the dough has become a bit sticky, so you're going to want to reapply flour a couple times to your rolling pin just to make sure it doesn't stick. So roll it out to a 1/4 inch, like I said, and then go get either like a cookie cutter, or you can use like the mouth of a glass if you want. I actually bought some actual donut cutters. As you can see, it cuts it out into about a 3-inch donut, and I have that smaller one to cut the holes out in the donuts. So cut out as many as you can, and when you cut the center out of the donut, save those, because you can fry those as well and turn them into Timbits, or as our American friends call them, donut holes. That's right, Americans. Up here in Canada, we call them Timbits. So anyways, as you can see, they are cutting out nice, perfect little donuts. And after you've run out of dough, just reform the scraps, re-roll it out, and cut more donuts out of it. The recipe should get you about 9 3-inch donuts and a literal ton of Timbits. So let's go into the kitchen and start frying these. In a large pot or Dutch oven, pour in about 2 to 3 quarts of vegetable oil and heat it up until it hits 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you do, start carefully dropping the donuts into the frying oil and fry them for about 2 minutes per side. So 2 minutes and then flip and then 2 minutes again, so about 4 minutes total. Once they have been cooked through, Take them out and put them on a wire rack in a rimmed baking sheet to allow them to dry off properly. Just keep frying these until they're all done. Look at how they're coming out. They look awesome, and look at all those Timbits. So that's the final product. These were not that hard, but we still have to glaze these. Let's show you a quick close-up. Look how perfect those came out. Those were nice and easy to make. But like I said, let's make the chocolate glaze because these are going to be really, really good with the chocolate glaze. So in a mixing bowl, pour in 1 cup of semi-sweet dark chocolate chips, and then add in 4 tablespoons or 60 grams of unsalted butter. It doesn't have to be melted, room temperature, whatever. And then add in 4 teaspoons of light corn syrup. That's going to give the glaze a nice glossy look and add some sweetness to it. And then 2 teaspoons of just regular old water. You'll want to microwave these for 30-second intervals, mixing them after every 30 seconds until they come out nice and combined like this. But look how nice and chocolatey and smooth that looks. That is perfect looking. So let's just start dunking these donuts. I don't really need to describe to you how to dunk a donut. You take it, you dunk it in the glaze, and there you go. It's done. Look how perfect those look. So I'm going to do it with all the donuts on one side, but then with the Timbits, again, donut holes for our American friends, I'm going to just completely cover them head to toe because these things are tiny and bite-sized. No need to be sparing on those. So after you have them all covered, let them rest, cool down for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, to allow the glazing to set. Once they are set though, it's time to start digging in, and I am going to do that now. I'm super pumped to try these. These look fantastic. Look at that chocolate glazing on there. Holy crap, that looks good. All right, let's go in for the first taste test. And yeah, that is good. The donut is just perfectly cooked. It's nice and like soft on the inside. And the chocolate glaze on top is just, oh, it's so good. The donut flavor is not overpowering. Like, it's an old-fashioned donut, remember, so it's not like super strong in flavor, but it's complemented by the rich chocolatey glazing. Holy crap, that is good. But that's the end of the episode. Like always, if you like what you saw here, drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you again soon on Idiot Proof Cooking. Thanks for watching.